Hey, welcome to the Timbucktoo Podcast, the number one show on the earth that talks about the intersections of art, culture, technology, and what aid you in your own art collecting journey. I'm Mamadou,
And I'm Derek.
and then we're here today with a special guest, Mr. Landen Prather, the founder of the Landen Prather Fine Art Gallery in Villa Rica, Georgia. How you doing today, good sir?
Man, I'm doing great, Derek and Mamadou. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Hey, we appreciate you having here on episode two, man. I'm
Yes.
really excited about this just because, for you all, for your context, we met with Landon last year around this time at an Invest Fest in Atlanta. He had a really dope booth where he had like this great curation of like different artworks from like artists that he works with. And he was showing me some of the innovative things that he was doing with like technology and art and like enhancing that more immersive experience. And from there we was able to exchange contact information. You came out to our Art Basel exhibition the couple months afterwards, and we've just been working on finding ways to like continue to build afterwards. So we greatly appreciate you being our first guest on the podcast. And for all you future guests, Landon here, he's about to like set the bar really, really high. So
That's
just
a little
being,
my
oh man, good man. I'm really excited. So we appreciate you. And do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So obviously Landen Prather, been an artist since I was a little kid, but jumped into this thing professionally really about 3 years ago. So I went through a hiatus of not drawing, not painting, and went through a pretty deep depression. And then once I came out of that depression, my wife encouraged me to get back into art. I started going through a few different shows and fairs, started winning some awards again, like I did when I was a little kid, and ran into some hurdles with getting my art on certain platforms. I was told to kind of differentiate my style than what was natural to me. So my wife and I just said, you know what? Let's try to look at our own thing. And honestly, she pushed it big time to open up the Landen Prather Fine Art Gallery. Yeah, I think the purpose of it was not just for my art, but as an artist myself, look out for other artists too. Whether that be fair commission rates, promotion, just taking away a lot of those fees that sometimes galleries may kind of put onto an artist, and not every artist is able to financially do things a certain way, but their art is still fire, right? So,
yeah,
we wanted to be able to put that out there and be a helping hand in a different way.
yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, shout out to the missus for encouraging you to like really get back into your passion and for opening up your own establishment, right? Like I think that's very powerful to like create a space that's like solving a need that you yourself was experiencing, right? In terms of this dictation of change your style to this to something that's not true to you, all of these fees, and just like a lot of the politics, for lack of a better term, that occurs, right? So I think
Yeah,
that's like really powerful right there.
appreciate that. Yeah, definitely shout outs to Marissa.
Shout out, shout out. So okay, yeah, so you're like starting this fine art gallery and you went through this transition of being an independent artist in this time frame into just quickly starting your own gallery. Can you tell us a bit more about that transition, right?
Yeah.
Because we Derek and I, and like speaking with different gallerists, we're starting to see this trend of like people who were independent artists themselves stepping into like this next photo of their career. So tell us more. What was that process like? What's the difference between like artists to gallerists?
Well, this might sound crazy, but that's just how I am. At first, we looked at, well, how to open up a gallery, that normal Google search and
Yeah.
everything like that. But then we really realized that we're just going to do this thing our way. How do we feel like it should go? How should the curation be? Even down to the building. We were looking at industrial buildings. Then my
Mm,
wife found this old house and office building, and we've basically transformed it into an art gallery. So
mm,
we're currently located in Villa Rica, Georgia, which this we're the first art gallery period, which also means we're the first Black owned art gallery in Villa Rica, and
Yeah.
honestly, the only art gallery between Villa Rica and Alabama. So
Wow.
there's so many firsts that have happened, and it's because we've just said, let's just do our own thing. What feels natural to us? And what that's done is it's allowed us to be innovative, which I know we're going to talk about. It's allowed us to try some things. Not everything's worked, but more
Right.
things have worked than they haven't because we don't have this blueprint of trying to copy anybody else. You
Right.
know, from down to our shows to some of the partnerships that we're starting to have. I'm basically just saying what's going to be fun, what's going to be a cool thing to do, what would the 13-year-old Landen be proud of, and that's what we're trying to do.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. And I'll be remiss to mention that you guys are less than 2 years old, right? In terms of
That's
your
right. Yeah, we opened up at the end of 2022.
wow.
So yeah, things have been moving pretty fast in that short period of time.
And then you're like the first in this huge land mass from like Villa Rica to Alabama. Like, how
That's right.
has like the local city been receptive to you all, like in terms of, hey, now we have like this really cultural center of like art and culture.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. They're pretty protective of us, and they are very proud to be like, "Hey, we have an art gallery here." I
Yeah.
remember our opening. There's this one collector who she was just really excited that finally there's something here. We don't always have to travel
Yeah.
to find good art by real people too. So that it's been a great reception.
That's really cool. Yeah. And so the first of many within this area. And then to your point, taking like a very innovative spin on what it means to be an art gallery. And, and you have like, and you mentioned it, and I really appreciate about this, you guys, is you have this core values of, essentially ensuring that the artist is well represented, well compensated, and then allowing for more access to collectors, right? And I think that even shows in the fact that you establish yourself in a location where now people who typically have to travel a lot of miles out of the city can like just come down the block to like buy art. So can you tell us a bit
Yeah.
more about like just like these values and like why that was so important for you all?
It's important because at the end of the day, we want to be good people. You
Yeah.
know, we really feel, my wife and I, that you know, as much light as we can put out into the world, that's kind of our purpose. So the vehicle of art can change people's lives. It's changed our lives. You know,
Yeah.
we've met you guys by thinking different, showing up at an Invest Fest as an art gallery, you
Right.
know, doing things different. But when we do this kind of stuff, it it helps us interact with different people in different spaces. And even our slogan is "Art is for all." That doesn't just
Mhm.
mean for the artist; that means for the collector as well.
Yeah.
And meeting people where they are. You know, not everybody can afford a $20,000 piece of artwork, and not everybody, wants that. But there's people who love art. Everybody loves art. It's just what kind of art do you like? Maybe you haven't been exposed to what you like yet.
Yeah.
And that's the other piece, is that any piece of artwork that we show, we want to either have it tell a story or make you feel something. And if it's going to be in a body of work, which we'll talk about later, we want to curate a full-on experience. And we feel like everybody should be able to have the access to experience the type of art that we're going to be bringing.
Mm, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. So yeah, you're less than 2 years old. You have this very important mission and vision of art for all, and you're trying out new things. What are some like your most proudest moments that you had thus far?
Yeah. It's twofold. I didn't have a solo show until this past May.
Mm,
So I'll split the proud moments into two categories. I'm honestly excited when a fellow artist of mine that we're showing their work sells.
yeah,
And when they get that just big kind of congratulations, not only from a collector, but just that sense of, okay, what I spent hours on,
yeah,
I did. And knowing that I played a small part in it, I didn't get to make that masterpiece, but I might have put them out there, or I might have added them to one of these different opportunities that came from me. That just feels great, you know. So that honestly, at the end of the day, was our mission, is to elevate other artists.
Yeah.
Another thing that's been honestly a surprise to me is being around all these great artists, how they encourage me and how they push me to innovate more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So this last show of well, 2 shows prior of Out of Darkness, which was my solo show. Never had a solo show before, and we filled up this whole gallery. I was able to add real elements of myself. I'm a nerd. I'm a tech nerd. I always am thinking futuristic. So by being able to kind of create Art Emerged with my brother, I got to make sure I let everybody know who this man is. Robert Lawrence. He has partnered with me. I met him at InvestFest as well. So this might be an InvestFest commercial. Met him at InvestFest as well, and just kind of saw his innovative brain. And we basically become 2 different sides of a coin, with the art part and the technical skills of being able to execute the technology. And so we showed Art Emerged first, and it was a hit. And I knew I had something. I knew we had something, but to see people who didn't know what to expect of what this was going to be, of artwork coming to life through their personal device, when they were just trying to just see a beautiful piece of art, but wait a second, there's a story behind it. That was my personal biggest moment thus far.
That's dope. So
Yeah.
first of all, you had your own solo show with your own gallery. That's a flex in itself.
Right.
Little humble brag I saw there, but but in meeting with Robert Lawrence, you basically developed this technology through Art Emerge, which is like more of an interactive, immersive technology. Can you dive into that a bit more?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So what Art Emerged is, it takes the basis of augmented reality. So when you are able to, through a personal device or even sometimes a VR headset, be able to overlay a graphic, a video, something that could possibly be interactive over a stagnant piece of art. So for example, these 2 pieces behind me are going to be Art Emerged pieces. And what makes ours different than anybody else is that it's only the work of me right now. Only Landen Prather art can be Art Emerged. So I spend hours animating these pieces, whether it be using Photoshop, using Blender, using a whole bunch of other tools, kind of apps matching. But at the end of the day, it comes from that painting. So an original painting that was painted by a real person, then we kind of remix it. I'm a big music fan. So the way that I think of art and even technology is really based on music production. So, there's a lot of sampling that happens in music. So I might take a picture from here, a sound from here, remix it to create something brand new. So even in the name Art Emerged, ART, augmented reality technology, emerged. So you are being emerged and immersed into this experience. And so the other part of it is it's not a gimmick. It's not just going to be something that lights up some stars or some fireworks pop up like you've seen before. We are curating storytelling experiences. There are many things I can't say here. It's more so going to be a we'll kind of show you type of thing.
Right.
I'm sure you guys have a clip that I sent you that you guys could kind of put into this to kind of show what happens.
Yeah, we're definitely going to demo that video within this platform. So appreciate you for sending it over. But
absolutely,
yeah, I saw that demo video, guys. These brothers are innovative. Like,
yeah, y'all definitely see it here, and I think this is a perfect opportunity, Landon, just to ask you about the upcoming show. I know you've been working on it, and you're working on right now curating and putting together a show for the Dungeon family at Stankonia Studios. Tell us a little bit, one, about that journey to get to this point, right? What are the things that have gone into you getting to, put this show on? And of course, tell us about the show and what we can expect.
Absolutely, yeah. So It obviously starts when I was a little kid, man. I would be sketching in my room, listening to Outkast specifically, and I loved their music, but I also loved the artwork that was on the covers and on the actual CDs. And I just started doing a lot of research these past few years of, okay, I need to know these artists. I need to know not just the musical artists, but who created this cover, who created this comic book for AT Aliens. That's something I always wanted to do. So I had finished a painting called King's Homecoming. And it was basically my first self-portrait, but it's an abstract self-portrait that kind of goes through my life story. I was waiting for my wife at the Atlanta airport, and I was listening to Earth Gang, and then Big Rube's voice comes on. And I'm saying, man, it'd be awesome if Big Rube were to tell my story. Just a random thought that popped in my head. And while I was waiting, I just go ahead and find Rube's information. And I just, out of nowhere, just email him a lot of my artwork and give him my concept. I did not think he was going to respond to me. That next afternoon, he responded to me, told me, hey, just give him a call and we'll talk about it. Called him, talked about it. And now we've kind of developed a friendship. So a few weeks later, I showed him the painting in person, and he immediately started writing. And he wrote this beautiful spoken word piece to it. And then my brother did the music production for the first piece. So that was actually the initiation of this idea of, what if I was able to do something like this with the whole crew, with the whole Dungeon family? So then that moved to, obviously, I have the art gallery and everything like that. And I'm on Instagram. And guys, Instagram's a huge tool. It helps you find out so many things. It's insane. And I'm looking and see this commercial for something called the Boom Boom Room Writing Camp. And it said hosted at Stankonia. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a singer, but I am an innovator. So I'm looking at this and said, oh my gosh, it would be great to be in that room. I just want to sketch stuff. So I do what I do again. And I say, I'm just going to ask the question. I was always told when I was a kid, you don't know until you ask. And for every yes I get a whole bunch of no's. But it's a lot of the yeses that are supposed to be the right yeses. So I emailed this amazing woman, Tasia G. And she is actually one of Big Boy's producers, signed to Big Boy. And I didn't know any of this. I just knew she was in charge of this writing camp at the time. And I full on put up a proposal, a business proposal of what it would look like one day. And I called it The Art of Storytelling. This was about a year ago. I said I wanted to have a show at Stankonia Studios that would show how art and music kind of intersect and actually reverberate off of each other, and how my artwork is really specifically influenced by Outkast, the Dungeon family, and Goody Mob, and everybody else. And so that conversation led to, well, hey, why don't you be part of our writing camp? So I was able to join, and I've been through 4 sessions of this writing camp. And what it is, it's artists, producers, writers, singers. We have Grammy-winning people in the room who, for 10 hours on a Sunday every few months, are in there and making music from scratch. And it's beautiful. You get to watch the whole creation process. And my idea of adding something to the room was, just let me sit in the studio, let me watch you guys create, and then I can create based off of what you guys create. And what I didn't realize that I was doing was basically going through practice. So I was going through a training camp of creation, because now I've been inspired to make music and score things. And I've been able to watch Renegade El Rey. So he is the Grammy-winning engineer for Killer Mike's latest album, Michael. And watching him take a sound from one level and making it sound so crisp, like it should win an award right now, and watching that, it actually has influenced my artwork. I've become more efficient in my art. I'm able to switch different styles a little bit easier. And so what that's brought me to is, let's just go in and do the art of storytelling now. Let's make it happen. So August 17th, Saturday night at Stankonia Studios. It's not just the artwork of me, even though I'm doing a whole body of work. We have an artist, Reggie Griffin, Lamar Bailey, and Jody Quintero. And so it's the four of us who are actually going to be doing artwork that is based on either the music of the Dungeon family. So that includes obviously Outkast, you have Goody Mob, you have CeeLo, you have Future, and Dungeon family has a large family tree. So there's many features that will be surprises as well that pop up in the art. But also it's premiere of, I think, about 6 new art emerged pieces. So you see 2 of them back here, and I can't give you those details yet because it's a full-on premiere. But some cool things will happen from them as they both come to life. So it's a one-night event, 4 hours that night at Stankonia Studios. And I'm just excited to be able to bring this vision to life because, like I said earlier, it's just me being a kid and doing stuff that I think is fun, but also bringing 2 different worlds together. There's art collectors who look at things one way, and then there's people who've never collected art but love music. Let's smash both of those worlds together, and everybody can have a great time.
Man.
No, absolutely. And I think, what I caught there is just the importance of art in capturing culture and preserving culture. That's something that we've talked about with our platform, right? Is the importance of, one, just how art is able to capture not only just a moment in time, but a feeling, right? Somehow, some way, this artist has found that right moment, or they found the right colors, they found the right emotions to portray within a piece that really, it kind of teleports you back to that moment, or it allows you to think in a certain way that pushes the culture forward, right? And so I love the spin, or the approach that you've taken in saying, hey, let me capture one of the most important pieces of Black American culture, and bringing this new element of art. Like I think it's such a beautiful thing, and want to just commend you and give you flowers for just taking that leap of faith and saying, hey, let me be a part of this thing and see what I can add to it from what I can do, right? It takes, like you said, you're an innovative person. It takes a lot of innovation to say, hey, let me come in and sketch while you guys do your thing, right?
Yeah.
So just want to give you your flowers there, brother. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, that group of people with Tasia, Lamont, and Renegade, and all the artists that pop up, it's really a community now, and we play off each other, and they had to be open enough to say, let's have some guy painting inside. I remember the first time they were so nervous about what I was going to do because they see live painting and splatters, and they have some super expensive equipment in there, so they were very nervous at first. But I was smart. I was like, I'm going to use these paint pens and use some colored pencils and use some watercolor pencils. I'm not messing up anything. I can't afford to fix that right now. So
you got that invoice in the mail.
Yeah, oh man, no, man, it's not worth it at all, guys. So I think if I were to tell anybody anything kind of about my journey, it is don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to ask the question. And above everything, be different. It's cool to be the first one because then you get to create what that looks like. And that's what we're trying to do is, just full on create and incubate from the beginning of what the new wave of art is going to look like. And I really believe it's the fusion of all these different elements that are out in the world to tell stories.
Definitely. It's cool to be the first one, just as you was the first one on the podcast, just like you, the first gallery in Villa Rica, and a lot of firsts. This is the episode of the first.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Trailblazer.
Man, trailblazer. So Yeah, real quick. So where can people find that info for like the show? When is it again, and where do
Yeah,
you get a ticket?
it's Saturday, August 17th at Stankonia Studios. We have very limited tickets available on Eventbrite, and I'm sure there's going to be a link up on this as well. You can find more information about me, the gallery, and any event at landenprather.com, LANDEN Prather, PRATHER.com. And a lot of my content that I post, whether it be every day sometimes or once a week, on Instagram at Landen Prather Art.
Cool. Love it. Love it. So we got a little bit of time left. One thing I did want to kind of dive into because it's like just this great conversation of like combining like different worlds that may seem different, but have like a lot of similarities together. So you spoke about like this combination of like art and music and bringing those cultures together. Well, you also did something really dope in terms of bringing together art and fashion, you know?
Yeah,
So
yes, that's right. That's right. We've honestly done it twice. So first at InvestFest, myself and an amazing designer named Vaughn Aki, we created a jacket. And the jacket, um, he designed by hand and everything, but based off of my concept or our concept of the gardeners. So, um, creating this jacket that was made of canvas and handmade and everything like that. Let's bring some technology to it. Let's have a brief little experience that pops up when people put their phone over it. So we debuted that at an Invest Fest, and we had quite a few commissions that came after that. After that proof of concept, people wanted some custom clothing that was designed by him and then painted by me, and then we put the elements of augmented reality. And now with Art Emerged, we've come out with our own shoe. So it's actually based on one of my paintings called Part the Sea. And in that Art Emerged experience of the painting itself, there's a minute and a half short film that I hid in. So as someone scans that painting, a minute and a half short film pops up. And the visuals of that painting they just looked like clothing. So
yeah.
my first thought was let's just do some t-shirts, stuff like that. But then I said, I always wanted my own shoe. So I had two other shoes before this, but they weren't art emerged. So this one, it's made in Italy. We found a wonderful partner with the live shoes, and it's the first augmented reality art emerged shoe ever. So once again, we like doing firsts because that just really changes the landscape for your brain. First of all, if you kind of do stuff like that, but also opens up other people's minds who may not have been looking at something like that. So we've done fairly well so far with those shoes. There's three parts that actually come to life through the augmented reality Art Emerged app, and this app is proprietary. So between myself and Robert Lawrence, kind of we own that tech, and it can be only experienced through that app. So that's something else that we're extremely proud of.
Yeah. And because you're too humble to say it, the shoes are fire, y'all. Like the shoes are fire. It's on my wish list. I need you to save me a pair of size 13 because I definitely need them
Okay,
for future outfits.
gotcha. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you, man. Like this has been an incredible conversation. A conversation is about first a conversation about like just stepping out on faith and just trying to see like what you can manifest, right? So we greatly appreciate you, Landon. Anything else you want to leave us before we bounce from the podcast?
I just appreciate both of you guys. You guys have been big supporters of what we're trying to do here, and it's pretty awesome to be on this podcast. I'm proud of both of you brothers, and just the vision that you have of putting real artists and real art on the forefront and doing it differently. It's a very personal thing, so it's not going to be this stale conglomerate. I can call y'all, text you guys, so. This is awesome. So congratulations, and looking forward to many more things about you guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, we appreciate you, Landon. And we appreciate you all for listening. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share it with all your loved ones. And this has been episode 2 of the Timbucktoo Podcast.